which is coming in. BJP patriarch LK Advani has slammed the disruptor, saying that it's giving Parliament a bad name, threatens to even resign, asks the MPs to allow the Parliament to function for at least one day. Well, there you have it, a word coming in from the BJP patriarch. Geeta, if I can come to you, there you have it. LK Advani, someone who's cautioned both the Parliamentary Affairs Minister as well as the Speaker, now has also cautioned the disruptors, even going to the extent of saying that he'll resign. Well, in fact, let me put this question across to Vijay Lakshmi. Vijay Lakshmi, ominous threat there coming in from the BJP patriarch.
Well, this is for the second time that he's shown his unhappiness with the kind of, functioning which is happening as far as the parliament proceeding goes. He today, in fact, has said that he feels like he should put in his paper, he should resign because parliament is not functioning. He, in fact, has said that he has shown his displeasure and he's expressed his views in front of Speaker and in front of the Secretary also. But despite all that, House is not functioning. He, in fact, has asked Rajnath Singh to go and to speak to the Speaker of the House and let the House function at least for a day. That's exactly what he said. Apart from that, he also observed that everyone wants to win on the floor of the House, but it seems that it's the Parliament which is losing at the end of the day because House is not functioning. He also said that let the issue of demonetization be discussed. Let the issue be discussed at least for a day in a peaceful manner. This is what all he said. Remember, earlier also he had shown his displeasure with House not functioning. He, in fact, has said that both are party to it. Neither Speaker nor Parliamentary Affairs Minister and the opposition are doing the job. That's what he's observed earlier also, and today also he's again, reprimanded, in a manner various people who are not letting the House function. He said that government should try to speak to the Speaker and House should function, and that's not perhaps the way to conduct for the parliamentarians. He also said that he wished that he should put in his papers, he should resign because this also, the entire affair is making him unhappy.
Well, in fact, do stay on with us, Vijay Lakshmi. Madhav Nalapad of the Sunday Guardian is also joining us now. Professor LK Advani has come out and said he is so angry with the fact that there are disruptions every day. He's now even threatened to resign. That's what it's all come down to now.
Well, of course, it's one thing to threaten to resign, the other thing is to resign. So both are entirely different situations. There is certainly a lot of disruption in Parliament, and the reason for that is that the entire politics of the country has changed after November 8, 2016. The demonetization has been one of the biggest policy initiatives taken by any government in India. I mean, I'm going back to a time of bank nationalization. Even bank nationalization was not as important a matter as demonetization. So the entire politics of the country has changed, and politics is now in a state of flux. Where the equilibrium will be depends on whether demonetization is successful or not. So that is the reason why this is being reflected in Parliament. What is being reflected in Parliament is what is happening across the country. So frankly, it's not just Parliament. The entire country, there's a state of flux. There's a state of a situation under really constant churning.
Absolutely, I agree with you, Professor, but which is why perhaps many people were hoping that there would be some meaningful debate. There is a massive flux in the country, yes, but we would have liked the opposition parties to have a discussion, have a debate. The Congress as well as the other opposition parties, they've raised some very pertinent points. We'd like the government to address some of those points as well, and unfortunately there are protest disruptions, but no debate.
Yes, you're quite right about that, we, the public, does expect to hear its elected representatives speak on the issues of the day and, if possible, vote on the issues of the day. Hopefully that will happen in the afternoon or that will happen tomorrow. That's the one, but if it does not happen, it clearly means that the politics of the country is now entering uncharted territory. And in my view, this uncharted territory will get a clear contours only by the time of the budget session. We are really in a state of evolution, and we really will be finding it very difficult to predict how it's going to go. We are in completely uncharted waters in the politics of India.
Absolutely, and interesting developments that we get to see every day, isn't it? Yes, we are scripting history, but we're not quite sure which way the history is going for the time being. Thank you so much, Professor Madhav Nalapad, for joining us here on the show. Geeta, if I can come to you, we saw barely any moments, a couple of minutes perhaps, of the parliament really functioning. You have on one hand the row over demonetization, the treasury benches have hit back with Augusta's discussion itself. So where is this going? Is it ego above India again?
Well, Meghna, what we are seeing is one of the most important executive decisions, policy decisions that have taken place in the recent past, or for that matter, in a long time in Indian history, has not gone down too well with certain quarters. And in that, even if the opposition is demanding discussion, there needed to be some middle ground, some middle path that both the government, because the onus does lie on the government to ensure that the House functions, that the government and the opposition had to come to ensure that the state exchequer's money is not wasted in the manner in which we've seen the entire wasteful expenditure over here of running an entire session without any work being done. And in that, both the opposition and the government absolutely adamant on their demands. One says that there can be only discussion not under voting. The other demands voting. One says Prime Minister will have to sit through the discussion, and the government absolutely not agreeing to that terms and conditions. And in that, what we've seen is that the entire voice and opinion and the narrative has shifted from the issue of demonetization and how it's impacted India and how it's going to impact India versus the global economy to a fight between and bickering between the government and the opposition on scams versus scams, corruption scandals versus corruption scandals. Absolutely huge loss, not just for the exchequer, but also for the country, where important bills were slated, where important work had to be done on a very important bill that has to do with the GST. And that certainly has taken a huge hit.
Absolutely. But then what's going to be the end of this logjam? At least tomorrow, the one day that is left, do we expect some kind of forward movement? We have seen at least some business in most of such righteous parliamentary sessions, that some business being conducted at least on the last day. Should we keep hope out for that?
It's the private members' bill day, so not much work is done on a Friday, Meghna. We would be highly optimistic, so to say, if we think that any work will be done tomorrow as well. I expect an absolute washout this session. There is no work that has been done, no substantial work, barring the fact that the disability bill was discussed yesterday, and that's an important bill that there was consensus on. But beyond that, we haven't really seen any consensus on any front between the opposition and the government, and there has been no middle path or approaching by either side to ensure that the government that the House functions.
Well, if I do stay on with us, Pankaj Vora is also joining us, the editorial director of Sunday Guardian. Mr. Vora, what do you make of it? Yet another day, we've seen a little whitewash of the parliament session. It seems that there's only one day left, and we that there's going to be any business being transacted there. Is this what India really is headed towards, where Neta's egos seem to be bigger than even the country?
No, I mean, it's a very sad situation that the parliament has not been allowed to function. Now, who's responsible, whether it is the treasury benches or whether it is, the opposition, that is something which can be debated. But it is always the business, it's the duty of the government in power to run parliament. And when Mr. Advani makes a statement like what he has made, it is basically, it has two purposes. One is to, he's a very astute politician. One is to, tell the political class that, he's disgusted with, whatever is happening in parliament. The second, the real objective is to tell people in the RSS and the BJP that this particular government, which may be the BJP government, is incapable of running the House, has no regard for the House, and, it's a signal which he's sending, to people who matter within his own party, having been sidelined and having been consigned to the Mark version bundle.
In fact, Mr. Vora, very interesting that you said that, because one of the details which is now coming in of what exactly LK Advani has said, he said that he feels like resigning. Had Atal ji been there, then he would have been very upset as well. So he's also invoking the legacy of some of the stalwarts of the BJP when he makes this attack.
Yeah, this is, basically, Mr. Advani, there's a very old Punjabi proverb, which says that, you convey certain things to your daughter in order to, send a signal to your daughter-in-law. So basically, Mr. Advani has done the same thing. He's basically, trying to, under the garb of, propriety, he's sending a very strong signal to people who matter within his own party.
Mr. Vora, he's already sent out a very direct signal when he accused not the opposition leaders last time around, specifically about the Speaker and the Parliamentary Affairs Minister Anant Kumar as well, saying that they have failed to run the House. But meanwhile,